Hello and welcome back. This is video number 2 and we're going to talk about how to use the video tutorials feature or how to get access to the video tutorials, and we'll talk a little bit more about the layout and all that so that we can get on the same page. So not all cPanel users are aware that you can actually get access to the video tutorials. Cpanel itself actually offers you a lot of basic tutorials within its website so that you'll get access to understanding, okay, how do I use this feature or how do I use that feature? Because we're not going to be able to cover every single feature in this video course. In fact, what I'm trying to do is cover videos that are really not covered, more in-depth views rather than just how to use cPanel in general. So once you log in, what you need to do is scroll down all the way down to the bottom and click on documentation, and at this page you will be able to access the video tutorials. And as you can see, there are a variety of different types of documentation like videos and also written documentation. Now it used to be in the past where cPanel would add the video tutorials inside of the cPanel, but now it is actually on the outside. So I want to make sure that you understand that so you know where to go if you ever need to get access to some basic video training. Now what I want to talk about is the user interface. Some of you will have different user faces than what you're seeing on the screen here, and that typically is because of the style. So you can actually change the style. So most of you will have something that looks like this, and it really depends on your web hosting company. Some web hosting companies will actually customize the cPanel with their own user interface, with their own icons and all of that. Now what usually holds true and stays the same is the actual words on the sections and on the actual icons. So the icons will be slightly different. And the reason why I'm going over this with you is because some people might be confused because it looks a little bit different. So what you can do is up at the top, you can click on this little person here and click on change style. Now, if you click this, you will be sent to this page. And I'm going to zoom in just a little bit more so that you can see it much clearer. So there are different styles and different skins, as we call them, and the basic one looks like this, and then we have the dark version. But if you'll notice, the icons are very similar and very much the same. The only difference is the background. So the light version, the same as well. So I would say the majority of you probably have something like this. Now this is the very old style. Some of you will have this and you'll see this, but it's all the same. But if you notice, the similarities is the section name, and then of course the actual name of the option. So for example, file manager will always be file manager, and so forth. So let's say, for example, I'm going to go back up here, and currently I am on the retro style, but let's say that I am going to use the basic style. So all you have to do is look through the styles that you want, click on apply to the one that you want, and it'll reload with that style. And that's it. Now if we go back to the main screen where all of the options and the features are located, you will see this. So like I said, depending on the style that you choose, it might look slightly different. But at the end of the day, typically the things that do not change are the actual titles of the options. Like file manager is going to be file manager across the board. Now you're going to see different sections. Some of these sections will be different. Some, as you can see, you can actually move these sections around. So I can move this section further down here. So just keep in mind that yours might be a little bit lower, yours might be higher. So really depending on the web hosting company, some will leave it at default and some will get all fancy and move things around and customize it with their own logo. But it's all the same thing at the end of the day, unless you're using a web hosting company that is not using cPanel, which are very far and few. So let me just run through real quick. So you have files, you have file manager, you have images, you have directory privacy, which enables you to tell the system who can actually access certain directories. We have FTP accounts. We have backup wizard, which will show you how to use later on. We have disk usage, which will show you how much disk space you have left. And then of course you have databases, which is phpMyAdmin, which is where we're going to actually look at the database. But first you'll need to create a database first, which you can do either here or here. You don't really need this. And these are for advanced users here. Then you have domain names such as site publisher, add-on domains, subdomains, redirects, and more. We're not really going to cover this, but subdomains, as you know, it's basically adding a keyword .yourdomain.com. So it's going to be a subdomain of the domain. And then of course you have email, which you're going to be able to create email accounts here. You're going to be able to create autoresponders. And in this case, the sense of autoresponder is just going to respond with an email. So you could set up an email address and tell people, hey, email this address and you will be sent an automatic response, an email with a secret code or something. You could do that. You could also forward all email from one email to another email here. We have email authentication, which we'll talk about more later. And we'll have Spam Assassin, which will enable you to protect your email address from spam. Then we have metrics like AW stats. There's other metrics as well, but these are different types of stats. And then of course you have security, and then IP blocker allows you to block IP addresses, and hotlink protection is great as well. So if you click on hotlink protection, what this will allow you to do is say, okay, I've uploaded a bunch of zip files and I don't want so-and-so, some other website, linking to the zip files and then getting people to download the zip files. So you can actually prevent other websites from linking to you and basically essentially using up your bandwidth. Then you have software, which the majority of these you will not really use. You will run into Softaculous, which we'll talk about later down the road. And then of course you have advanced options like cron jobs, which you will usually set up whenever you install a web script. And all these other things you won't really use as much. You will use error pages, which we'll show you at a different video as well. Then we've got preferences, which is just change style, change language, and all of that, change your password. And then of course you have Softaculous.